Hello everyone, welcome back to Bookaloo Builds. I thought I'd do a quick video just on installing the VN brakes into the VL. I'll put a parts list in the description so you know exactly what you need, but this is the VN handbrake assembly and the dust cover, just painted up. The VN caliper that I rebuilt in the previous video. The bolts, the spring for the handbrake cable. You're going to need VN discs, rotor, and then also some new pads to suit the VN calipers. And then on the axle, for both sides, this all sort of applies. You're going to have to get a VL turbo disc brake bearing pressed on. They have a different seal here, so you have to get that done on both of them. And then you're also going to need to get some V8 or VL turbo, they're sort of the same thing, studs. You can either press them in beforehand or you can just push them through and tighten up the wheel, and that will pull them through. So you just want to make sure you take the old bearing casing out of the inside of the diff housing. So that's it there. So normally it's pressed in there. If you can just get a slide hammer, you can pop it out. I'll chuck a video up if I've got one. Just use a slide hammer. Just hook it on the inside there and just give it a couple of hits back. There you go, nice and easy. Only took about 3 hits. Now that's out, you can fit up the new parts. You just want to put the whole handbrake assembly and the dust cover, just push it over those studs there, and then your axle will push through. The only thing you need to be mindful of is that, so this one wasn't too bad, the other side was a bit tighter. The one thing you need to modify for the brake line is that once you see behind here, that brake line just goes straight through to where the drum used to be. What you need to do is just bend this up slowly and get the right shape and just get it so that it's facing in towards the thread for the brake hose. I'll do that now, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've bent that brake line around. When you bend it around and you get it started, you just want to make sure that there's not too much pressure on it. If the angle's not completely square to this fitting here, it's going to be hard to do up the thread. So just play around with it and you should be able to just slowly tighten up that thread nice and easy until it's finger tight. That way you're not going to get on there with a spanner and just cross thread it straight away, because they are quite soft and they will cross thread. So just take a little bit of time and take some care and it'll go in pretty easily. So once that's in there now, what we'll do is just slide in the axle, and then this dust cover here has to go past and behind the handbrake shoe. Just wiggle it around, slowly wiggle in the axle. Just take care with the thread on the end. Slide that in, get that cover in there and started, and then we'll get the nuts on there and start nipping it up. Now that you got the axle started, what you want to do is use the larger of 3 holes and go around and get the 4 nuts started on the inside. So they've got a tapered edge on them. If you can see that on the tapered side, so that tapered side goes out so that the flat part of the nut pushes down on the dust cover. So you go around, get them all started, and the workshop manual says to do them in a zigzag pattern just to evenly distribute the pressure, so that way you don't pinch the seal on the inside. So get them started and then I'll just slowly nip them up. axles in, put the rotor on, and then we'll start to bolt up the caliper, do up all the brake line hoses. All right, the back of the caliper's bolted up now. What we're gonna do is get a like a piston compressor for doing brakes. Push this in, and then you can sit your two new pads into here, flip it over, bolt that down, and then we'll screw the brake line hose back onto it. All right, caliper's compressed the whole way in. Brake pads, like so. Just want to give it a bit of pressure. These springs on the top are going to try and force it so they keep the pads locked down into position. So pull it over, get that top one started. And that's pretty much that now. So you want to just get a spanner and tighten up the caliper, and then we can get this hose started as well. Right, so I'll bolt these up tight. I'll do this up tight, and I'll also do up the brake hose at the back. I'll tighten that one up as well. And that's pretty much that part done. You just need to hook up the handbrake assembly.